Look at this. I almost wheelied it the whole way. What's going on, YouTube? Today is an awesome day because guess what they done did? They mowed it. They finally mowed it. So now I've been flying out here with the AL-37 and the YOS-39. Gonna be fun and having a ton of fun. No more do I have to worry about my jet getting pulled by grass and smashed into the ground. So we're gonna swap over to the Viper jet and we're gonna do a proper landing tutorial. Good Lord, have I been waiting to do this for a while. I would have shot this with Tony, but I actually find it easier to do this on my own. I don't have to worry about where he's at any given point, and I don't want to put him in danger of getting hit by me, because, you know, they're foam airplanes, but at the speeds these things can travel, you can cause some serious injury. Not like the V1200, which could probably kill you and go through you at high speeds, but this thing could still, it wouldn't feel good if it ran into you. And I just, you know, you have to fly safely. It's part of the Model Aviation Code of Ethics by the American Aviation, Model Aviation Administration, whatever they're called, the AMA, Academy of Model Aeronautics, that's the word. And, you know, just to fly within their guidelines because they're the only CBO currently recognized by the FAA, just makes sense to do things the right way. So I'm gonna try landing first with Crow, and then we'll show you guys what it looks like without Crow. I totally prefer Crow. I had no problem landing this jet with Crow through the turbulence earlier. I had a lot of rotor I had to deal with. Sorry about all the sounds. It's a rooster and a dump truck today. Let's get the chest cam on. I'm gonna put it back on 1080. Don't need 4K resolution of the chest screen, fortunately. Here we go. I already repaired it too. It didn't take much to fix. Kinda. Oh, there we go. You just need a little bit of trim. That's all that was. All right. So we're gonna land with Crow, like I said.
20 seconds.
We're gonna start by going right to left. I can land any direction I want to today.
Crow ailerons.
Crow's enabled.
20, gear down.
Gear coming out. I had a guy remark earlier on Facebook watching my video of this thing crashing, and he told me that my hands move too much, and I don't subscribe to that telling people that everything they do is wrong ideology. I prefer the way I fly. You can have your own preferences too. Look how nice it comes in with Crow. Very predictable, very easy to fly like that. You can hold a nose up attitude without porpoising as much. Some of the porpoising I was experiencing with it before may have been due to the,
1 minute.
Like, it's only really trimmed for the,
Ailerons, elevator for
it's really only trimmed for the flight mode where the Crow is enabled. I don't really have the flaps trimmed for anything else, so I'd have to use a lot of stick input,
gear down.
at least in my opinion, to get it down. So we're gonna turn around and land one more time.
Flaps full.
Like, I prefer the way Crow looks. It slows the jet down, allows you to fly with thrust up to landing, and you get just a sweet mains touchdown every single time. It's so hard to argue with it, in my opinion. Look at this. I almost wheelied it the whole way.
Gear up.
Okay, actually gonna drop the gear again. Really no point in bringing them up. We're gonna try landing with regular flaps only. This is gonna be more challenging because the plane will probably automatically start to porpoise. Again, I don't have this trimmed for anything but Crow.
Flaps full.
Flaps coming in. Maybe it was only porpoising because it got caught on an air mass, but I will say right now, oh, there's a little bit of porpoising. Okay. Right now it flies way better with Crow. It's not so bad, but right now, like I said, Crow's off. That's my switch F, my index finger on the right. I gotta be better at timing my flare. See how it doesn't sync automatically?
Gear up.
Pull the gear up, we'll go try again.
22.4 volts.
And I don't know why I turned them up, pulled them up, whatever the word is. It's so hot out here I can't think straight, because I'm just gonna turn around and try again. Level the wings, drop the flaps. It just slows down so much more predictably with Crow. And this right here is why I don't fly with flaps alone, and I prefer crow because I would have had 2 landings already.
22 volts.
So we'll do it one more time, go a little further out because we're gonna have to be more on the throttle and on airspeed management to make this work. So if you're not gonna be using an 8-channel receiver, this is the way to do it. You need to be further down. At least so far in my experience, you need to be further down because the plane's just gonna float. There we go. A little bit of throttle. To get a little closer, we can chop it. I don't want to chop it too high because I'll stall.
23.2 volts. Flaps up.
So there's our first flaps landing. Let's see if I can get another one. It takes a lot of finesse, a lot more management of airspeed. It doesn't look as good to me until I got the technique perfectly down every single time. When Zach from Tail Heavy was here flying with me, he got it pretty good. But you know, again, he's a professional pilot and he also has a lot more flight experience than I do, so he's able to judge airspeed a bit better. He would have been a master at this thing with flaps only. I think what he would just do is chop the throttle and glide it like I'm doing now, and as we get low to the ground, hold it like this. So really what I was using was my crow technique way too much. So if you watch my hands and what I was doing there, that's pretty much how to do it. You just hold the nose down and let it glide.
22 volts.
We'll do it one more time, and then we'll do one more final crow landing.
Flaps full.
That last one actually looked pretty good. Okay, scratch my leg. There we go. Hold the nose down, let it just glide under its own power. And when I say power, I mean inertia. A little bit more throttle to get it over. Yeah, using too much throttle. This might not look as good. Chopping now.
Flight pack flaps up. Gear up.
Okay, gear going back up.
0.9 crow aileron.
Crow coming in. ESC is disabled, or sorry, not ESC. LVC is disabled on this jet, so there's no issues with me flying it a little bit longer. Okay, we got crow in.
Flaps full.
Now again, I remind you guys, this is how I prefer to land. I prefer crow. I can land both. As you see, it took me a little bit of guesswork to remember the correct way to do it before. Got to hold the elevator on crow, but look how much nicer it comes in my opinion. And that reverse thrust, man, makes it worthwhile. Now, having flown it with and without crow, I will say that I don't mind it without crow, but I do like how much more predictable it is. And I will say with crow in turbulence, especially if you have to worry about wind shear, crow will help you get through it. You will already be in the power, so you don't have to worry about it as much because you can throttle out of it a little faster. It's one of the nice benefits of having crow because you're already landing with power. So on a day where it's very windy, crow would definitely be the preference, I'd say. But knowing how to do both is important, and this was just learning how to do it again. So we're gonna keep shooting, and we'll be back here in just a moment. All right, guys, we're coming right back with a 5200 100C Z-Pack. And we're gonna sync up the chest cam here momentarily. Get this battery pack out of the way. I got some other stuff I wanna do with this jet. High alpha, you know how we do on this channel. Let's get the chest cam going, full flaps going.
50.
And we're gonna do some regular flap landings.
Flaps gear up.
Okay. Got a little bit of a headwind coming from the direction I'm standing right now, so we're gonna just go ahead and land from left to right. And by left to right, I mean the direction I'm standing now, to my left, coming into the right.
Gear down.
Bringing the gear out a little early.
5 minutes.
Adjust the head cam. Crow is disabled, so we're just on the regular flaps right now. Again, with this jet, just make sure that you keep some power in your banks, otherwise you are going to drop a wing, and it's not going to be fun.
4.2
When I say
volts.
banks, as long as you're trying to hold like altitude with the elevator as you bank, if you don't have enough airspeed when you're doing that, you're going to drop a wing. Okay, coming in. A little bit of a flare. Kicked up some grass. That one wasn't too bad. I drifted over to the right a little too much. We're gonna try doing it from right to left with a 3 mile an hour tailwind.
3.2 volts.
That's enough that I'm not really worried about it.
Down. Flaps full.
Flaps coming in. Just let it sink. This might be too far away. I'm not gonna get it to plop down in front of me.
Flaps up. Gear up.
So I'm gonna have to do left to right here. So again, the biggest difference between landing with crow versus landing without is going to be it's more airspeed management work because you're not air braking the entire time you're coming in. So you don't have to hold on the power. And in fact, having power is bad. And being too high up is also bad because as you trade your altitude for airspeed, you're just going to continue flying for way past your touchdown zone. So I had a runway overrun there, but now we should be okay. Using minimal power to help me get over this part here. Okay, now let's do some crow landings.
Crow ailerons.
Crow's turned on, switch F, position 2 on my setup. If you guys haven't seen my setup yet, it goes over all this. Again, I do prefer landing with crow. I just like the way it looks and I like the way it feels and I love the way it cuts through turbulence for the most part. On mine though, it has a lot of nose down, which I prefer. I'd like to be able to pull the stick up rather than push it down. Feels more natural to me. Look at the way it holds the nose up though. Getting out of the flaps in the gear, cleaning up. I'm gonna bank over those trees, hold a little more thrust just so we don't accidentally drop a wing and spiral into them because I gotta call Kev and I don't wanna have to call Kev unless I have to call him to get my plane out, you know what I mean?
Gear down.
That's never a fun conversation.
Flaps full. 23.2 volts.
There we go. Plenty of power left, so you can do the rest of this on crow. Shows you guys the differences between the two landing modes so you can learn how to land with and without crow.
7 minutes.
So I'm like halfway through the throttle to keep the jet flying. A little bit of porpoising.
Flaps up. Gear up.
So the game, the way it's played with crow is that you have to hold throttle to bring the jet in. You have to. You don't have a choice. You will, as you hold that elevator back, if you try to keep the wings level, you're going to drop them. They're going to go down no matter how much crow you put in. The wings can only fly up to a certain point. Once the airspeed reaches its critical velocity, no matter what angle of attack the wings have, they're going to drop. Look how much more manageable this is, though. I would have already been way too much airspeed and wouldn't have been touching down right in front of me without crow. So we're gonna go right into regular flaps. And again, I say twice the distance you need to fly out to get regular non-crow landing going. So about right here. And having a bit of altitude isn't bad either.
No data ASL.
Okay, that's my GPS. And that's right, this receiver doesn't have a proper barometer in it because it's like kind of goofy. Doesn't quite report back the correct value. So I've got a little bit of a steeper glide slope here. You notice I'm throttled down the whole time and I'm just letting the plane sink.
22.6 volts.
Letting the plane sink, letting it sink. Need a little bit more throttle because it's kind of coming in. There we go. Now we can cut. One of my sloppier looking landings. But again, you see how like to get the landing to be perfect every time requires a lot more, I don't want to say skill, it's just timing. So we're going to go all the way out. We're going to make this the last landing. If not, we're going to throw crow on and call it the last landing.
Gear down. Flaps full.
Flaps coming in. We're still off a crow.
22.6 volts.
There we go. Trading altitude for airspeed as we push the nose down. So much nicer to fly when there's very little turbulence. Yeah, so still got to time it better. How much power we got left?
21.7 volts.
Okay, if we can't get it this last one, I'm just going to throw crow on and call it quits.
Gear down.
Because I want to get the jet down safely without damaging this battery pack. It is one of my brand new ones.
Flaps full.
Flaps coming in. Okay, push the nose down. It does want to push up a little bit. Trying to keep a nice glide slope. Trying to get over my inclination to want to use thrust. I know I'm going to need it. I'm going to come down way too early. Chop throttle now. Here we go.
22.5 volts.
Flaring.
Thrust reverse.
There we go.
And flaps up.
That should help you guys out. I hope that goes over all of the theories and everything on how to land this jet with, or just, yeah, it's not just this jet, but the jets in general, but this one especially. This should help you guys out significantly, I'd imagine. If it doesn't, you know, let me know. I can always tailor some content to you guys that you want to see. All right, YouTube, we're back, and I decided I wanted to shoot some more content with the Viper before I absolutely destroy it, because I'm over here flying this thing to get more. I wanted a newer intro for the channel with this mode grass that's here, so I went ahead and I just did the best alpha pass I've ever done. And I got so much blown grass, and I shot it in 120 frames per second, so I can slow it down to 60, and it should look absolutely magical. So we're gonna do a little bit more tutorial footage on this jet, and hopefully be able to show you guys what you can do as well, just with a little bit of practice. I mean, you saw me learn how to land this thing in a way that I never land it normally. So if I can do this, you guys totally can too. You just got to feel the jet out, pay attention to how it's flying, and, you know, just keep learning, because that's what this hobby is all about. It's just improving yourself and growing. But back to that alpha footage, oh my gosh, I'm just legitimately shocked nobody else wants to show what this jet can do, because it's like, it is one of the best high alpha jets you can get. It shouldn't be by any stretch of the imagination, but it is, and that's just ridiculous. I had 5 different words I wanted to say, and they almost all came out at once. All right, so this is a 4,000 pack.
25 volts.
It's not going to last as long, but that's okay. We're going to be doing very minimal flying with it, just light touches on the sticks most of the time. Get the chest cam running.
Flaps, wing.
Take off with half flaps, half throttle, save some power.
Flap gear up. 23.2 volts.
There we go. We're going to immediately turn her around and land with regular flaps. It's good to know how to do both techniques, because on days like this where there's no wind, regular flaps actually isn't bad. The plane's not going to balloon as much, and you're going to find that it's relatively okay to land like this. Let's keep that nose pushed down, and then we'll pull back and start bleeding off the airspeed by holding the elevator back. There we go. Look at that. Pull back to flare.
24 volts. Flap gear up.
Beautiful stuff. There's chickens on the taxiway out there. I gotta watch out for them if the plane overruns. We don't even need a lot of power.
23.3 volts.
But you can tell that even with half throttle, the voltage sag is real, guys, on a 4K pack.
Gear down.
This plane wasn't designed to fly with it, so that's why I shoved the battery a little further forward. I don't even know if you saw that, but that's okay. I say that's okay a lot. That's becoming my catchphrase.
17 minutes.
Okay, let's get her lined up. A little bit of throttle. A little bit of throttle. Pull back, flare.
24.3, but flaps up, gear up.
So these approaches aren't perfect. The flaring is definitely not perfect, because if it was perfect, I would just hold the altitude that I was at when I went to go flare, and it wouldn't, you know, kind of climb at all.
Gear down, flaps.
So, but it's not bad. So sorry about that. The battery died. Not the battery so much as the GoPro overheated is what I meant to say. So if you look inside of the jet, you'll see there's a GoPro shoved in there that is currently being cooled down. So we will be right back here in a second. I have a fresh battery that shouldn't be as hot, and we'll give it another go.
23.9 volts.
Plenty of power left to continue flying though, so let's just go ahead and do that. But we're gonna rotate the plane in the other direction. I don't want to hit that rough pavement. Chest cam's going back on. This time of year sucks for this kind of stuff, guys. Half throttle takeoff.
Flaps gear up.
Throw into safe real quick as we climb.
Safe.
That way I can adjust my head camera. There we go.
AS3X.
We're going to immediately turn, drop the gear,
Down.
bank over.
22.7 volts.
Try to make sure I don't step on any ant piles. The other day this thing was Sunday I was filming, and I got bit up severely.
Flaps full.
Coming back in with no crow. Pushing the nose down. This one might overshoot. Might overshoot. Nope, I think I got it. Probably one of the better ones I pulled off. So really, you can see that the pressure required to get the jet to do this is almost minimal.
22.5 volts.
We'll do
Crow aileron.
do some crow landings now, and I'll show you the difference. We're going to burn through throttle way faster with crow,
Flaps
because
full.
we have to maintain pressure on the throttle, just like landing the F-18 with full span flaps. With the additional drag, you do need to be on the back end of the power curve, as I believe Zach put it. So you do need to hold power through the approach. And then as you come close, you can chop and then take off again.
Gear up. Wing normal. 22.2 volts.
get a couple more of these and I'll show you again how this is done. The main differences between these, again, pay attention here. This is very important to remember. With crow, you need thrust. With no crow, with just standard flaps, you can usually just point the nose down at the ground and trade altitude for airspeed, and then gently pull the elevator back as you get closer to the ground. With me being as far out as I am now, to hold this altitude requires almost half throttle, if not fully half throttle. And then I can just use throttle to determine when I sink. See the pitching moment change on the airframe too when the crow disappeared, that immediately pitched back down. Upward aileron reflex on this jet causes the nose to pitch up, so you need down elevator trim to fix that. It's in the setup vid if you haven't seen it yet.
22 volts, gear down.
Okay.
Crow aileron.
One more crow landing, and then we'll come in with a regular landing for the final. So we're really far out. We're just gonna turn crow off so we can just glide, because I don't want to have to hold power the whole time. Okay, not as much power anyway.
Flaps full.
Crow coming in, there we go. If I let go of the stick at all, it noses down. That's because I haven't put a lot of up trim into it. I'd rather pull up than push down.
Flaps up.
Okay,
Gear up.
gear coming up. We're gonna land
6.7 volts.
with regular flaps now, no crow, for the final part of this video. I decided that I was gonna discontinue it, make it maybe a 15-minute long vid instead of a 10.
Gear down.
More content never hurts, am I right?
Flaps full.
So you notice I'm starting higher up on the approach, and I'm pushing down on the stick. And as I push down, I'm trading altitude for airspeed, keeping the wings level as much as I can throughout the whole approach. As I get closer to the ground, I start pulling back on the stick.
2.3 volts. Flight pack 20.8 volts.
And that's too far out. So again, timing is paramount.
Flight pack 21.3 volts.
I know, girl, we'll get you down, don't worry. Okay.
Flight pack 21 volts.
So my approach was a little too high.
22 minutes.
Use rudder to kick the nose around.
Flaps
Drop into
full.
the flaps. Push the nose down. I think I'm standing on an ant pile. Let's move out of that.
22.1 volts.
There we go. Don't even need thrust this whole time, basically. There we go.
Flaps up.
Kind of overran slightly and hit the grass on the side of the runway.
Thrust reverse.
What am I doing? I can reverse thrust.
Flight engine.
There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, I do this for you guys. I like to give back to the community. I think that I've learned a lot from other people, and I've learned a lot experimenting on my own. And I figure knowledge is useless unless you share it.
22.2 volts.
And I don't want to be that guy that like knows how to fly really well, but then I'm unwilling to show anybody else how to do it.
Engine normal.
So knowledge, again, is useless unless it's shared. You got to help other people out. If you guys enjoyed this content, please really do consider leaving us a like and a subscribe. Maybe tell a friend too, if you know somebody who finds this kind of stuff interesting. Look at that, I got my slotted flap has a piece of grass in it. There it is.
Flat 22.1.
And of course, we will see you guys out there. Have a good one. Cheers.